This may come as a bit of a surprise to some of you, but the WNBA has come to the end of what might have been the best regular season in league history. Great players, great teams, sublime performances, wonderful stories, and the playoffs begin this week. By all accounts, and I agree, having seen a handful of games on TV and read many great dispatches from excellent reporters and writers, the game has never been better on the court. Seattle Storm's Natasha Howard, center right, gets off a pass in front of New York Liberty's Tina Charles, right, and Kia Nurse as Storm's Alicia Clark watches on during an August 17 game. Do yourself a favor starting this week and check out a WNBA playoff game or two. You'll come away pleasantly surprised. Elaine Thompson, the Associated Press file photo. But while that has translated into more popularity and an increase in casual fans, the league still struggles. The pay is too low, the travel too arduous, the crowds too sparse, the sponsorships too lacking, despite all stories like Canada's own rookie Kia Nurse along with Natalie Achunwa and Kayla Alexander, Liz Cambage in Dallas, Lindsay Whalen in Minnesota, the dominant Seattle Storm, and races for playoff seeding that went down to the final day of the regular season. As you know, I am a big fan, and I think it's an important league with players who are the best in the world at their craft and are significant role models for a segment of youth that needs them. Article continued below. Read more. Hamilton's Kia Nurse signs one-year deal with Australian basketball team. Canadian women take aim at World Basketball medal. Madison Square Garden owner to explore spin-off of Knicks, Rangers. So, why can't they get paid better? Travel better. Not have to flee North America weeks after their seasons are over to make more money playing in Europe or Australia or Russia? Why aren't the crowds bigger? The sponsorships greater? The media more mindful? I was chatting with a friend who has a great interest in the league one day last week, mostly because I had lamented that Nurse has to go to Australia to play in the winter because she can't make a livable year-round wage in the WNBA, and the conclusion was, I get that, it's not fair, I just don't know how to fix it, and there's the conundrum. Article continued below. One of the teams turns much of a profit, and I don't think too many ever have made consistent money that can be turned back into salaries. They can't seem to piggyback on NBA sponsorship deals deeply enough. The national ones they do have are because of ties with the NBA, the same with the national broadcast deal, and it's a complex, perplexing problem. It makes no sense that it's not consistently successful everywhere, but it isn't. I know people at the high end of the league, the NBA, and league partners, keep trying to figure it out and, hopefully, they can before it's too late. And I wonder what more we can do in markets where there are no teams but much interest in women's basketball. I think we could probably run more stories over the course of season on players and issues. I've long held that no one is going to miss some out-of-market wire service baseball story once or twice a week, and replacing it with a WNBA feature might even garner us a few more eyes. And I know that my eyes glaze over at any who is going to be Team X's starting NFL quarterback story that appears at this time of year. So, yeah, maybe we could be better, maybe more casual fans could pony up the minuscule cost for a season of live streaming to add something to the financial pot. Having painted what might be seen a glum picture about the finances of the league, I will still contend that the good burgers over at MLSE should be seriously investigating the chance of a WNBA team for Toronto. I would trust that the league will eventually figure things out. I don't think there's any denying that women's sports are more popular today than they have ever been, and bringing the first franchise to Canada is a thing that needs to happen. I'm not suggesting anyone buy anything that is guaranteed to lose them substantial sums of money over the years, but I am suggesting someone should be able to make it work in a city and market this size at this time. But as my buddy said, it's complicated. Anyway, do yourself a favor starting this week and check out a playoff game or two. You'll come away pleasantly surprised, I'm sure. I'm sure you all devoured yesterday's mailbag, but it's a new week and I've only got 3 chances to prod you into sending queries for next Sunday. So do what you do over at ask.thestar.ca and I'll take care of you on the weekend. Thanks. Here's a rule I'd like to enforce for every broadcaster who talks about or writer who writes about baseball these days. Everything needs context. I fully admit to be, in equal parts, baffled by and unconcerned with most of the deeper stats being tossed around willy-nilly these days. That's not that big a deal, and if I had to know what they were I certainly would. WHIP and WAR and OPS plus are, I'm sure, valuable tools when assessing a player's value. But here's my issue. I was watching the start of yesterday's Blue Jays game at Casa Doug, which means with the sound up, so that was a problem right off the bat since I'm not a huge fan of Martinez and Tabler. I don't think they're conversational enough and don't tell enough good stories, and there's something to Buck's cadence and inflection that turns me off. Fine, I'm sure they're not really bad and who cares, right? Well, they were all over exit velocity of the Gritch at Colmer in the first, so much so that one of Tabler's first comments on it was that he wondered what the exit velocity was. Of course, that probably had something to do with the stats sponsored by bit seconds later, but what I want to know was what it meant. It was about 100 miles per hour or some such, but no one could be bothered to tell me whether that's good or bad or indifferent. And that's what I want. If the average is, say, 75 miles per hour, I'd be more impressed with the shot than if, say, the average is 110. Then it'd be ho-hum. And until I get some context every now and then, they may as well be speaking some now dead ancient language and I couldn't care less. End of rant.